Congressman Ro Khanna went after his fellow Democrats for being too far right-wing. This is a thing of beauty.
And when you have 33 Democrats in the House vote for the rollback of Dodd-Frank, I'm thinking, what constituency are they speaking to? I mean, you had Donald Trump run against Wall Street. Who believes that we need to give banks worth between $100 billion and $250 billion, that we need to lessen the regulations on them and allow for the same free market enterprise that led to the Wall Street crash? What did those regulations do? They said banks can't engage in speculation with people's money. Banks need to maintain a minimum reserve if they are big banks. And they argued that these were community banks. Now, I represent Silicon Valley, but I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Let me tell you something. I don't know anyone in Bucks County, Pennsylvania who would describe a bank that has $100 billion of assets as a community bank. This is not a community bank. These are some of the biggest banks in the nation. So this is what hurts our party because I'm not for a litmus test. I'm for Medicare for all. If someone doesn't agree on Medicare for all, I'll say, okay, what's your plan? You're for a public option. Fine. I really believe Medicare for all is the solution. I came out early for that. We can debate it. And the party should debate it. I think we should stand for Medicare for all, but I think let's have a debate about the right solution. But when it comes to this, like, who can be for rolling back Dodd-Frank? This is not a Bernie Sanders issue. This is the square mainstream of the Democratic Party. And it undermines our ability to say we're for working families, we're against the moneyed interests, and really hurts us from having a clear message.
Is this something where, the bank lobbyists come in, who a lot of these people are taking money from banks, it's no secret there, but do they threaten them? Is there some sort of verbal cue, wink, wink, nod, nod, you're going to lose all of your money, and that's what takes over their mindset?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to accuse people of it being just this, okay, the lobbyist says do this and they do it for funding. I think they've really bought into this worldview that the levers for economic growth are deregulation of banks, because Reagan and Paul Ryan have been spewing this for the last 40 years. But what we need is a total shift in thinking. We've got to be willing to say they were wrong. Their deregulation led to some of the severest financial crashes and the biggest income inequality. And we need to return to what built America, investing in people, investing in people having a decent education and healthcare and having a shot at the middle class. And then they'll spend things and they'll be able to start businesses. And that's what grows America. Instead, I think they almost have bought in, internalized some of the free market absolutism of the 1980s. So I actually think, to give them the most charitable interpretation, I don't think it's, okay, they want to just raise money. I actually think it's worse than that. I think they've bought in to the ideology of the right. And what we need is a clear break from that ideology. FDR said the bankers dislike him, and he wears that with a badge of honor. That helps him, right? That's the sentiment we need in the Democratic Party. And I'm not saying something that's a novel insight. I mean, FDR did win 4 terms. I mean, he said he was going to save capitalism for itself. It was not that he rejected businesses and entrepreneurs. He just wanted to make sure that the economy was working for ordinary Americans.
If the Democrats tell Wall Street and the military-industrial complex and big pharma and for-profit health insurance companies to fuck off, and they do that in a very loud, aggressive, public way all the time, their support among the people in small dollar donations, their support from unions, their support from teachers, their support from lawyers, their support from regular people would at least double. At least. But as long as they stay married at the hip to Wall Street and all these big money interests, what's going to happen is the people are going to be mad at them because they're not really the People's Party. They're not really the left-wing party. And then also, they're going to keep doing the bidding of those corporate outlets. So Ro Khanna is 100% correct when he says we need to bring back that FDR mentality on Wall Street issues, where the idea was these people hate me. The moneyed interests hate me, and I welcome their hatred. We need that philosophy as opposed to the bullshit, mealy-mouthed, we're a big tent party, and that tent is so big it includes billionaires and corporations and the opposing party's ideology. Because ultimately, that is self-defeating. And when people have a choice between Republican and Republican light, more often than not, they choose Republican. You need a bold and opposite vision of what the Republicans are offering. And by the way, when you actually go issue for issue, the American people are populist left. So shouldn't be that hard to sell the American people what they already believe in. But see, you have to believe in it also, and you have to change where you get your funding from. So I think that I have a few slight disagreements with Thoreau here, though. Number one is he says, well, listen, for Democrats, it's not even that they're puppets to their donors. It's that they're ideologically, they have bought into the right wing's philosophy, and they believe in neoliberalism. And they believe in deregulating the marketplace and cutting taxes for the rich. And so basically he's saying they've bought into the neoliberal corporatist ideology. That's what he's saying. I think he's half right. I think they do. They have convinced themselves. Like, I think if you talk to Joe Manchin, he will genuinely make an argument as to why we need to deregulate Wall Street more. And I'm not kidding about that. I think he's convinced himself of that. But at the same time, I also think they are doing the bidding of their donors. I think it's both things. I think they have a genuine ideological stance in favor of neoliberalism and corporatism. And at the same time, I think they are doing the bidding of their donors. So the interests kind of converge there, and it's a perfect storm of all the worst aspects of corporate Democrats. So that's a slight difference I have with Ro Khanna. And then also, something I'd like to start seeing Democrats say is the following. When they get accused of, oh, do you have a litmus test? You have a purity test? Here's the response that makes sense. Yes, I do. Yes. Because what's hilarious is the implication of saying, no, I don't have a purity test. So what does that mean? That means I don't really believe in anything. And that's supposed to be like the positive reaction is like, I don't have a purity test. I don't have a litmus test. That's like saying, I don't really believe in much. I really don't. I'm very vapid and vacuous. And I sway in the wind with wherever whatever direction, Washington, D.C. is blowing. And it's like, no, if you say, one of the things that made Donald Trump attractive to so many people is not even necessarily what he was saying, but how he was saying it. How here's a guy who's on stage in like a North Carolina or South Carolina debate in a military area, and he started screaming at Jeb Bush that the towers came down under your brother's watch, and he took us to a stupid war. And then as everybody on the stage and even in the room were kind of booing him like, ooh, how impolite, sir. His whole persona was like, no, I'm right. That's what happened. That's what he did. So it was like, it's almost like saying yes to what the charge is against you. Like, oh, you were against the Iraq war? He's like, yeah, I'm against it. And it's how you say that matters. So if somebody says, oh, you're in favor of a litmus test, you're in favor of purity test, and you're like, yes, I am. Absolutely. Because I believe in stuff. I believe in Medicare for all. I believe in free college. I believe in a living wage. I believe in ending the wars. I believe that some things, not everything, some things are not negotiable. They're just not negotiable. They're off the table. You file it under duh. Like, I don't know, the Constitution. Protection from cruel and unusual punishments. That means no torture. Off the table. I'm not debating that one. That debate was settled all the way back in fucking Magna Carta in the 1200s. If you want to bring that back up, you're the idiot, not me. Not me. Having a country where 45,000 people die because they don't get basic health care, that's not debatable. I'm against that. That's objectively bad. You don't think it is? You're the problem here, not me. So yeah, I do have a purity test. They need to be for Medicare for all, of course, because you need to be for covering everybody in a way that objectively works and that we have the evidence and we know it works. So I wish people would start saying that. We start saying, yeah, I have purity tests. I do, yes. Now, by the way, again, that doesn't mean that on every issue I have a purity test. I'm not going to rule somebody out because I support, I don't know, whatever, a 40% marginal tax rate on the rich, and they say, no, I only like 38. What am I going to do? I'm tut, sir, I will never vote for you. No, that's stupid. But having some standards, even if it's just, okay, Medicare for all. Okay, have something, okay? Have something. So I really wish the left would start doing that, because if the left does that, then we change the conversation. And by the way, we're getting to that point now. The PCCC is now running ads against Democrats who don't support Medicare for all. And they're running ads like, and that's the whole point of the ad, is this person doesn't support Medicare for all. So it's almost like scaring them, like saying, okay, support it or else. And that's what I want to do, is I want to change that conversation to make the duh position what the duh position should be, which is stuff like that. End the wars, Medicare for all, living wage, New Deal, legalize marijuana, and the drug war, so on and so forth. You guys know the deal. So, but those are strong words from Ro Khanna. I mean, he's really going after his fellow Democrats and saying, how dare you be in favor of deregulation? That's stupid. It's wrong. And you've bought into the right-wing propaganda. He's right about all that. And that's why his approval rating is high, and that's why he's a leader, and he's the future of the Democratic Party.